Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are deep diving into a conversation that's been on everyone's mind lately. Remakes. More specifically, are they working? Is Hollywood really out of original ideas? Or is there more to this trend than meets the eye? From Disney's live-action reboots to franchises that just won't quit, it seems like we're stuck in a world where everything is being rehashed, reworked, and you guessed it, remade. But why? Are they all cash grabs, or can a remake actually be good? Let's break it down. So grab your popcorn, grab a little G&T, and let's talk about it. Remakes. They've been around for decades, but in the last 10 to 15 years, Hollywood has seriously leaned into them. You've seen it. Disney's remaking its classic animated films into live-action ones, and we know how good the most recent Snow White is.
I said enough!
There was a time where we lived with hope. Good things were nurtured and allowed to grow. I remember. Do you?
Or horror movies are getting reboots left and right, and even long-dead franchises are getting a fresh coat of paint. But are these remakes working, or are they just cash grabs? Alright, let's dig into the positives of remakes, because yes, there are definitely some valid reasons why they exist and why they can actually work. You see, a great remake can breathe new life into a story, making it relevant to a whole new generation while still honouring what made the original special. But the key word here is great. Not every remake gets it right. Let's take a look at some examples that do work, starting with Disney's The Jungle Book. Now, The Jungle Book isn't just a remake, it's an entire reimagining of the 1967 animated classic. While the original was beloved for its catchy tunes and vibrant characters, this version took it to a whole new level. Directed by Jon Favreau, the film combined cutting-edge CGI with a compelling, heartfelt narrative that brought the animals in jungle to life in a way that we'd never seen before. It wasn't just about making things look cool. It was about taking a familiar story and enriching it with a deeper emotional core. Mowgli's journey, for example, became a more complex exploration of identity and belonging, themes that resonate universally. And it's not just about visuals though, the effects were groundbreaking. The film also had an emotional gravitas that felt fresh. There was an underlying layer of tension, and Mowgli's relationship with the animals, especially Bagheera and Baloo, was rooted in more nuanced and almost philosophical dynamic. The movie didn't just rely on nostalgia, it redefined the story to appeal to modern sensibilities. And let's be honest, the results speak for themselves. The Jungle Book grossed nearly $1 billion worldwide, was praised for its visual innovation, and even earned an Oscar for Best Visual Effects. It's a prime example of a remake that's not just a remake, it's an artistic reinvention that elevated the original material while also being a success with the new audiences. It proves that if you take a beloved classic and give it a little bit of a modern twist with a fresh creative vision, it can truly resonate. You see, another key benefit of remakes is that they can introduce timeless stories to a new generation of viewers who may not have experienced the original. Now let's take The Lion King, for example. Now this was one of it was a little bit more controversial, and why some fans absolutely love the 1994 classic. I love that film. It's one of my favourite Disney films of all time. You see, Disney, it took a well-known story and made it accessible to kids who grew up with newer technology, a different kind of animation and new cultural movement. What Disney did with The Lion King was essentially retell a beloved story using state-of-the-art CGI that made the animals look even more real than ever. While the 1994 version uses hand-drawn animation, the 2019 film uses photorealistic computer-generated imagery to create animals that look like they had stepped out of a nature documentary. And while the emotional weight may have felt a little different because the animals were hyper-realistic and lacked that sort of expressive faces of the animated characters that we had in the 1994 film, the visuals of the 29 film were absolutely awe-inspiring. And let's not forget the marketing. Disney knew exactly how to tap into our nostalgia. They hit us with the same iconic soundtrack, recreated the most beloved scenes, and even brought back the same voice cast for some of the characters. The result? $1.6 billion worldwide, becoming one of the highest grossing films of all time. Sure, the critical response was mixed, and I personally wasn't a major fan of it because I love the classic and the original, but you see, for many fans, the remake was a way to relive those childhood memories while also sharing the experiences with their own kids. The power of nostalgia mixed with stunning visuals meant that it was a commercial juggernaut. Alright, so let's flip the coin and talk about the downside of remakes, because let's face it, not every remake is a hit. In fact, some of them just make us scratch our heads and ask, why? Why take something so beloved and redo it when the original was already a masterpiece? This is where the problem lies with remakes that feel unnecessary, and trust me, there are plenty of examples. Let me just take the 2016 Ben-Hur, for example. The 1959 version of Ben-Hur is still considered one of the greatest films of all time. It's a cinematic epic full of grandeur and timeless themes, and an iconic chariot race that defined action scenes for generations. So when Hollywood, of course, decided to make it in 2016, why? What was the point? The original was so culturally significant that remake felt completely redundant. The 2016 version tried to update the story with slicker visuals, some action-packed sequences and modern CGI, but it completely lost its soul. I mean, take the brand new Snow White film. The original is a classic. It's synonymous with Disney. I mean, I love that film from its stunning visuals. I mean, this is a film that was made in 1937, a truly classic Disney film, and you update it to something which, let's be honest, I think we all know by now was an absolute garbage fest. Main actress who has completely destroyed the any hopes of the film being good.
On stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere.
To these awful CGI dwarves, to the controversies surrounding the entire fucking cast. I mean, let's be honest, an absolute clusterfuck of a fucking film that could have been maybe okay, but when you look at the box office returns and you look at how much this film has danged in reviews and ratings, you do sometimes have to sit there and go, what is the point? You've already got something that works. Come up with something fresh. Come up with a new idea. What's the point of... You've already got something that works. You've already had something that works. So what's the... I mean, it would not surprise me, right, in the next maybe 20 to 30 years that we're getting remakes of remakes of remakes. So we're going to get another live action version of the Snow White, or we're going to get an updated animated version of the original Snow White. And then there is Ghostbusters. This one, I mean, fuck me. A terrible all-female cast of Ghostbusters. I mean, that wasn't the issue. I mean, it could have worked. But the problem, gender isn't a problem in films. I think, of course, if it's, if the characters are good and fleshed out, if it doesn't matter. I mean, it could be a bunch of guys, it could be a bunch of girls. As long as the characters are good, as long as the story is good, as long as, the plots, everything, as long as that is good, then I think you can have a very good film. But of course, with Ghostbusters, there was so much hype and controversy about the casting choices. But honestly, I think the real problem with that film is it just wasn't funny. It felt like a cynical cash grab trying to tap into the Ghostbusters franchise without understanding what made the original work in the first place. I mean, look, let's be real for this second. The original Ghostbusters was a perfect blend of supernatural comedy, quirky characters, and smart writing. It had a unique tone that was both hilarious and a little bit spooky, something no one had seen before. But the 2016 remake missed that balance completely. Instead, we got a slapstick heavy reimagining that didn't really capture the same cleverness or charm. The humour felt forced, and the characters were exaggerated to the point that being one-dimensional. See, the film wasn't bringing anything new to the table. It was just trying to cash in on a famous brand name, and it absolutely showed. You see, that is the problem with a lot of remakes. They fail to understand the magic of the original, the spirit, the reason why those original films worked in the first place. When the studios don't respect the unique qualities of the source material, or fail to bring something new or fresh to the remake, they end up with a hollow experience. It's like making a copy of a painting that was already a masterpiece but forgetting to add your own brushstrokes. That's the problem with these remakes. They just play it safe. They don't bring anything new to the table. They don't reinterpret the original. They just recreate it. Sometimes worse than the original, so they miss the point of what made the original great in the first place and fail to add anything meaningful to the conversation. And at the end of the day, these remakes feel like cash grabs, a way for studios to bank on brand recognition and nostalgia without having to take creative risks. See, here is the issue. Hollywood is more interested in profit than innovation. So they'll take the safe route, rehash something that worked in the past, throw in some fancy visuals and hope people will show up. The problem is, when a remake fails to deliver, it doesn't just waste our time and money, it tarnishes the legacy of the original. And that's what happened with Ben-Hur, with Ghostbusters, with Lion King, with the Aladdin. I mean, I'll be honest with you, a lot of it is Disney. These films, for example, they all had potential to be great, but instead they end up being hollow imitations of what we already love. Aladdin. The 1992 version was one of the defining animated films of the 90s, and its music, its characters, its humour, it was iconic. Fast forward to 2019 and Disney remakes the film with a fresh face. I mean, Will Smith as the genie, a new cast and some updated visuals. Sure, the remakes were visually stunning, but the question is, why? Why was it necessary? I mean, the problem I found with the film is you cannot redo Robin Williams. I mean, the man was so iconic as the genie. I mean, God, you could probably watch a 3-hour film of just the genie, but redoing it, and to be fair to Will Smith, having to live up to someone who made a character. It's like if they redid Lord of the Rings today and you had someone brand new playing Gandalf. I mean, it just doesn't work. But you just sit there and have to think, I want to ask you, did it bring anything new to the table? Or was it just an attempt to cash in on nostalgia? You see, the answer for many is that the latter, but you can't deny that nostalgia was a major selling point. But you see, here is where things get tricky. Remakes, by their very nature, are often not about pushing the envelope creatively. When you remake a movie, you're taking something that worked once and trying to repackage it without fundamentally changing the story. When remakes work, it's because they transform the material. They add to the story, they reimagine it, and they breathe new life into something we thought we knew. But when they fail, it's often because they just are copying and pasting the old film, throwing in some modern effects and hoping for the best. See, at the end of the day, a great remake is one that takes risks, respects the original, but also offers something new. A fresh take on a beloved story that adds value, not just a shiny new version of something that doesn't need fixing. But you see, here's the thing. When every movie you love gets remade or rebooted, it starts to feel like we're running out of fresh ideas. I mean, the 70s were a golden era for film, full of new concepts, innovative ideas, iconic storylines, brilliant characters. I mean, now it feels like we're just recycling everything. It's like Hollywood's stuck on a repeat, playing the same songs over and over again, and when a new idea finally does come out, it's often buried under the weight of remakes and reboots. I mean, it would not surprise me if we get a remake of Casablanca, we get another remake of Ben-Hur, we get a remake of the Ten Commandments. So why is everything getting rebooted? You see, it's all about money, plain and simple. Studios know that nostalgia sells, but the real question we need to ask ourselves is, are we losing our appetite for original stories? If every studio is just looking to cash in on the past, where does that leave new ideas? It's a cycle that keeps repeating itself. And who knows, we might see an American Psycho remake or an Untouchables remake. God, we might even see a Goodfellas remake. Films that are just going to keep getting rehashed and rehashed and rehashed. So, to wrap it up, Remakes and reboots are definitely a double-edged sword. Sure, they can bring new life to a classic, but they can also feel like a lazy attempt to cash in on nostalgia. I mean, when done well, a remake can enhance the original. But when done poorly, it can tarnish the legacy of a beloved film, and why Hollywood's obsession with reboots shows a lack of originality. It also reflects the financial pressures of the industry. At the end of the day, we all want something fresh, but studios are playing it safe by recycling what already works. So, what do you think? Are you a fan of remakes, or do you wish Hollywood would come up with something new? Drop a comment down below and let's keep the conversation going. You see, do not forget to like, share and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the world of film. I have been your host. This is the Cinephiles. Until next time, ciao for now.